What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. The remakes, like I said, they're not going anywhere. And we got another one coming up. But before we get to the Running Man movie that apparently is going to keep Glen Powell happening, he's happening. There's no stopping it now. We have to talk about the original that is a far cry from the book, but still a very entertaining movie. Here to talk about it with me are two of my very favorite people in the movie talking business. My ever life mate Jeremy, what's up, brother?
I'm back from the dead, so everyone can stop the tabloids. I'm still here. I've got the sexual prowess of a Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever Jesse Ventura said. Is this not that movie? Him
No,
and Arnie? Is it my thing?
other movie. That was Predator.
Am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the wrong '80s movie where these two teamed up. Yeah, no, I'm here, and as you can hear, I'm trying. Okay, so like I said, I passed the keys to Frank, and I'll just be the passenger princess today.
Yeah, he's going to be the color man, to use a sports reference. And then the other awesome, sexy bald guy from up north, from Alex the Garbage Man, with us today, Mr. Alex. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hello, cutie pie. If you're watching this, one of us is in deep trouble.
Dawson was so.
Hell yes. I fucking love Dawson. God damn, dude.
I wouldn't quite call him deliciously evil like I referred to Hans Gruber in Die Hard, but he was still kind of fun to watch as a bad guy.
It's got the charm, man.
But obviously, we are here to talk about the 1987 version of The Running Man. The Running Man is an 87 American dystopian action film directed by Paul Michael Glaser, a familiar name, and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, María Conchita Alonso, Richard Dawson, Yaphet Kotto, and Jesse the Body Ventura. The film is set in a dystopian United States between the years 2017 and 2019. Ooh, not too far past. Featuring a television show where convicted criminals called runners must escape death at the hands of professional killers. It's based on the 1982 novel written by Stephen King under a pseudonym. The Running Man grossed $38 million on its $27 million budget in the United States and opened to mixed reviews from critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, 67% of 48 critics' reviews are positive. The website's consensus review reads, quote, "The Running Man is a winking sci-fi satire with ridiculous clothes and a workmanlike direction." That's fair enough. A new movie adaptation of the novel, directed by Edgar Wright, starring Glen Powell in the lead role, is set for release by Paramount Pictures this weekend. I think it's actually probably in theaters tonight, as movies go. But we'll be here to talk about that one on Tuesday. And I must say, we'll talk more about our expectations later on in the review for this remake. But it's gotten some pretty good reviews so far, which is promising. But again, the proof is in the pudding, so I'll have to go see it this weekend to make sure. But let me start with you real quick. Jeremy, give me your quick thoughts on this movie before we get into the spoiler stuff.
Yeah, this excuse me, it's a classic 80s movie, I think. Honestly, it's a cool premise. I'm always into apocalyptic and dystopian stuff, so it's interesting that we're remaking this. But I could see it working because it is kind of funny to watch it now and think of. I wasn't there for 1987, but I was like, I can't imagine. I'm like, man, they really just did not have the best outlook for us, did they? Because here we are, well past that year in the time frame of this movie. But I'm like, God, that's just so wild to watch something that's like, talking about something like this that could happen, and it's kind of scary how real it gets sometimes. It's almost like they were trying to tell us something like 40 years ago, even. But yeah, it's a fun watch and plenty of one-liners because, I mean, what 80s movie, especially with Arnie, would be complete without it?
Yeah, we are.
I guess you could say it hits the spot.
Yeah, we're one bad night away from, or one bad political meeting away from being right there where Arnie was at the movie. But Alex, how about you? Give me some of your quick thoughts on the film.
It's an interesting late 80s take of a view of the future, even though we all know the trope of if they're telling a story about what life is like in the future, they're actually referencing what life is like now, kind of, and what it could be if we keep going down this road, 1984 and all. using the lower class as cannon fodder for the middle and upper classes to not only keep them distracted, but to assuage the ever rising bloodlust and thirst for freedom. Yes, ridiculous clothing. It's like a bit of 1984 with 80s game show glamour vibe and dance numbers and celebrity worship and TV aerobics with Jesse Ventura. That's the ticket. No pain, no gain.
Hell yes.
You gotta love Jesse Ventura. That guy is entertaining, if nothing else.
Yes.
But yeah, as I was watching this last night, it kind of occurred to me that from like 1985 to like 1991, which I think is about the time Terminator 2 came out, Arnold just basically played the same character in every movie. Because one of the movies I had stumbled across on streaming when I was getting ready to watch this one was Commando, which is one of my favorite movies. It's a great movie. It is.
Yes.
It's kind of peak Arnold. But I was just like, from unless he was doing something goofy like Twins, he was basically playing John Matrix in every movie. That tough guy, one-liners, killing people in really cool ways. You just kind of you watch it and you go, ooh. You kind of every guy kind of shrinks a little bit when he sees him chainsaw up somebody's crotch. But he basically was just the same. He basically just play. It's kind of what we accuse Tom Cruise of doing now, just basically playing Tom Cruise. He was just basically playing John Matrix, the same character in every movie. Because I was thinking about it, I was like, he's just John Matrix right now. He's just in a different setting. He's not trying to beat Columbia drug lords to get his daughter back. He's just the same guy. And because of that, I kind of was thinking as I was watching this, I wouldn't put this in the top 10 of Arnie movies. It's fun. It's kind of 80s. It's good 80s fare. This is kind of what the 80s was good for, was the actiony stuff. A lot of style over substance. I mean, not that the 80s couldn't do that, but I mean, we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger here. It was style over substance. A lot of his movies in the 80s were style over substance. But I was watching it again yesterday, and I was like, I'm not putting this in the top 10 of all Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I really can't. I think some of his more recent stuff where he actually has to act have come across a lot better than this movie has in the long run. It's still fun. It's still good action. It's still good 80s, but it's not peak Arnold. It's kind of cookie cutter. Okay, Arnold looking at it and saying, okay, this is what I do is I flex my muscles, I wear tight shirts, and I beat people up. And I'm like, okay, which is kind of disappointing because this movie had a rich kind of backstory that you could have dealt with. You could have delved into a little bit more. I do like the social commentary, but not the best version of Arnold Schwarzenegger you've ever seen. But let's get into the discussion now. I'll go to you first, Jay. Give me your thoughts on Paul Michael Glaser. I don't have a good picture of him, so I'll use this one. Give me your thoughts on Paul Michael Glaser, the kind of job he did as a director in this film, and maybe some of his work overall. Because again, if you're somebody my age or a little bit older, you know the name from a couple different places.
Yeah. Yeah, with this movie, like we said, it has the that it's like, even if it is just Arnie beating the crap out of people and dealing out his one-liners, as silly as they may be, it still, like you said, has that that story in the background where you think about it, and like we said, now it's like we're past that point, but like now we kind of think like, whoa, that's a little too real, or it could be. So it's an interesting take, and like I said, it's for what it is, I think it's well done. I don't know where I'd put this either. I think Jingle All the Way is an amazing movie, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. That's the hill I'm going to die on. As I'm a child of the '90s, all right. I had to. I can't. I still giggle when he screams, "Put that cookie down!" Like, that's a real line that he said. So, as for Paul Michael Glaser, God, I can't talk today. How you gonna go wrong with Starsky and Hutch, man? See, I can do it too. I'm one of the cool guys. I know. We were talking before we got on here. It's like, yeah, I know I said I'm 33, but I'm probably like 53, honestly. I'm not really sure what else other than that, like Starsky and Hutch, that I'm looking through right now that I've that I can say I know. Phobia, maybe. Oh, Kazam, right? Because 90s. It's Shaq. Because why not? Yeah, that's about all I got on that. I guess I like the movie. I think it definitely had an idea there that could work, and that's why I'm curious to see this new movie. So I don't know what direction you're gonna take that. The only thing I know is the difference is like now it's a worldwide thing instead of like just like one 400 square block of ruined city. I'm like, that's some John Wick type of shit, like where they're like, oh yeah, the whole world's now gonna kill you. It's like, oh well, no pressure, I guess. So plus Colin Domingo is playing the Richard Dawson part, and I'm like, I'm totally here for that. I loved him in Fear the Walking Dead, so I'm totally here for that.
Yeah, he does have a cool exuberance that is kind of played through in the trailers that I think I'm going to be into. I don't know, Alex, what do you think about Paul Michael Glaser's directorial work in this? Old David Starsky. What do you think of the work he did with this film?
I'm not too familiar with this guy. Looking at his feature films, Band of the Hand from 86, I have not seen. The Cutting Edge from 92, I've heard of, but I haven't seen. The Air Up There from 94 with Kevin Bacon, I have not seen. Jeremy mentioned Kazam from 96 with Shaq, I have not seen. But I did see from the same year Shazam with Sinbad. So,
damn you. I refrained from the joke, but all right.
It was a decent movie. The cinematography, for the most part, was nothing special. Not to detract from it, it helped to tell the story visually. Nothing that really stood out in the way of shots. I saw Back to the Future, the 40th anniversary, in theaters recently, and I noticed that I don't think there were any handheld camera shots. It was all cameras on sticks, or maybe a few crane shots, maybe some shots on dollies. So very basic cinematography, but in terms of Back to the Future, it's the story that draws people in. You don't need to do much with the camera. Here, with The Running Man, because it's, let's say, B-grade action, and you're just here for the violence, as being not only an audience member to the movie, but part of the audience within the movie, where you're going, rah, 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 let's see somebody get killed. This is what I'm betting on. This is why I'm here. So you're here for the violence, and you don't need to do much in terms of visual effects. Just enough to get to the next scene, spew a one-liner, kill someone, get to the next scene, and repeat till you got no more people to kill. And scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm old. Paul Michael Glaser. I'm always going to see him as Detective Starsky. But especially in the movie Starsky and Hutch, they had Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller. Him, that little cameo.
And they showed up at the end with the car.
That was kind of awesome.
I love that touch. Yeah,
I have seen The Cutting Edge. I saw it in the '90s when it came out. It's a rom-com. It's funny. That's about all I can say for it. Up in the Air. I mean, Kevin Bacon makes a movie good. So whatever. I saw it when it came out. I don't remember being that blown away by it. His best work has by far, I think, been in TV. I mean, not just as an actor. He's been in plenty of stuff, but I mean, he directed episodes of Starsky and Hutch, the original run of Miami Vice in the '80s, which is fantastic. Judging Amy was a popular show. He did a couple of episodes of that. He did several episodes of Las Vegas, which I really liked the show. I kind of tailed off towards the end, and I never went back because I got busy. Not because I didn't like it, it's because I got busy. But Las Vegas was a great show. Third Watch, another great show that he directed episodes of. Not to mention he was in a bunch of TV movies, The Rockford Files, Kojak, some other classics. Things like that. He was in The Mentalist. He had a small role in that in one episode. Ray Donovan. I haven't seen any of that show, but I've heard a lot of people say it's good. Numbers is one of my favorite shows. So the guy, look, he knows how to make compelling. He knows how to put compelling shit on screen. And I thought it was interesting that he made this, in my opinion, kind of a cooler version of The Hunger Games. It's like, because The Hunger Games to me was, it's like, I get it. I understand what they're trying to do with the story. I understand with the way that she wrote the books and all that. But I was like, I wanted something way grittier. It was a little too polished for me at points. But I mean, I get that's kind of the world they were in. They had been doing the Hunger Games for, I think by the time we get to the first movie, for 70 years or something like that. as I recall the numbers. But so maybe the whole thing would be kind of polished. But I like this grittier, dystopian, you know, otherworldly kind of way of looking at this kind of situation, as opposed to something that's so clean and organized and put together. But also, I mean, you factor the one thing the Hunger Games doesn't have is the one-liners. It doesn't have Arnie, and that he brings kind of a different thing to this. But Paul Michael Glaser, I think, for all the knocks about it being so departed from the source material from the original book, I can understand why some people would be frustrated at that. But I'm like, honestly, just tell a fun, compelling story that gets me interested for a couple hours, and you pretty much, and you're like 8/10 of the way home for me if you can do that. If you can keep me interested for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're most of the way home with me. I'm pretty easy when it comes to that kind of stuff. When it comes to movies, that's all you really got to do to really get me into it. And I think he did a good job with telling some stories, with presenting some of the social commentary stuff. I really wish they would have explored the world a little more instead of running right to the one-liners of Arnie, like, oh, he had to split, or he's hanging out back there when he's been, skewered against a wall or whatever. And I understand that's what a lot of what Arnold's movie was at the time, was the one-liners and the cool ways of dying. But like I said, because Arnold, even back then, was a decent enough actor to pull off some more dialogue, you could have explored that world a little more. And I'm hoping that they explored a little bit more in this upcoming movie, because I feel like that backdrop is one of the things that could make the character better. But again, Paul Michael Glaser did a great job putting this movie together. It's fun, it's action, it's what everybody wanted from a movie in 1987. So he gave the crowd what they wanted. I'm never going to knock a guy for that. But let's talk about the cast now. And oh boy, a whole lot of people. Arnie, María Conchita Alonso, and let's not forget for a moment Richard Dawson, who was famous for so many reasons. I'll go to you first, Alex. Give me your thoughts on the cast. What do you think of it, and who stood out to you the most?
The cast was pretty good, because I don't have the other dimension perspective on who else could have been cast in these roles. But I'm sure if everyone watches to the end, there might be some trivia regarding casting. I think everyone did a decent job. Now, who stood out for me, meaning what stood out for me? María Conchita Alonso's wardrobe stood out for me, which made me stand out. Giggity. All right.
There it is. There it is.
Richard Dawson as Damon Killian. He had the most variation in his line delivery and the most facets to his character. He talked to people and he listened to people. He was the most engaging and compelling person on screen when it came to interacting with other characters. So for me, Richard Dawson was the top. Of course, we're here to see a big guy like Arnold throw people around and say, and he did that pretty well. But Richard Dawson, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I can't but agree with all that. Jeremy, how about you? What do you think of the cast, and who stood out to you the most?
Yeah, he definitely stole mine. It's Richard Dawson. Who else do you get? Someone who's been in showbiz like that. And I'm like, that's the funniest thing to me, that I'm like, you get someone like Richard Dawson to be the host of this like really messed up, twisted, like you said, like Hunger Games, The Purge, a little bit of like They Live with like the dystopian shit, but like, I mean, yeah, and who just does this kind of smarmy, like, but still charismatic host of this game show. Yeah, I think that's a hilarious cast, and I love the movie for that, honestly. Like Alex said, as much as I love Arnie just throwing people around, I had to give it to Richard Dawson. I've seen Match Game, I've seen Family Feud back in the day and all that jazz. So yeah, I think that's just a really hilarious touch to have him be the host. So he takes the cake for me.
Yeah, I like many people grew up on the Richard Dawson version of Family Feud, and the gags that were going around even in the 80s about how he had to kiss every female contestant, not just a kiss in the cheek, but he had to go for the peck on the lips. And even back then, people kind of giggled about it. Nowadays, they call it rape or something like that. But back then, everybody just kind of giggled about it. Yeah, I can't disagree with anything you guys have said. Richard Dawson surprisingly kind of steals this movie away from Arnie. I mean,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but it works, because it's like they're not just on opposite ends of the good guy, bad guy spectrum. They're on opposite ends of the charisma spectrum, because you've got Arnold. He's got the whole brooding, I'm the wrongfully accused who's being put in this situation. I have to go kick some ass to get out of this situation. You have Richard Dawson, who, if you put these guys in a room and said, fight it out, Arnie would obviously make short work of this guy. But he's a bad guy who can go toe to toe with Arnie in different ways that aren't Arnie's strengths, and that makes him more compelling. Until, of course, the very end, when things start to fall apart and they end up getting in the room together and it all goes the way it goes. But yeah, he's extremely compelling. Part of Jesse the Body. I mean, come on, I'm an '80s wrestling guy. How do you not like Jesse the Body Ventura? I mean, yeah, he's always been kind of a kook, especially after he spent, a couple of years as the governor of Minnesota. But he's only gotten kookier as he's gotten older. But I mean, he actually, honestly, of all the wrestlers that have turned actors, I think Jesse's the body that has been the one that has fit his roles the best. Because it's like, as good as The Rock has gotten at acting, his first couple of times out weren't great. He had to learn how to be a good actor. Because acting like you're fighting some guy in the ring is one thing, but actually delivering dialogue and being in the scene in the moment is something really different. He's figured it out. But Jesse Ventura, he took to it really naturally. I don't know if it was, I don't know if maybe it was just his brain was working that way or whatever, but he took to it a lot more naturally than I've seen a lot of guys. Hulk Hogan did, I think, for the most part, because he's always had the showman thing about him anyway. But even then, his early stuff, it's like as much as I kind of laugh at Tropical Thunder, Thunder in Paradise, that show that he was on forever. As much as I kind of laugh at how campy and terrible that show was, he was kind of perfect for it. It fit him really well. But modern day wrestlers don't just fall into acting the way that I feel like Jesse the Body did.
And Roddy Piper with They Live, like I said,
Roddy Piper as well. I mean, I'm actually bummed that he didn't do a lot more acting, because he really didn't do much. It's like he would go act in something, then he was right back to WWE for several years. Then he'd go act in something, then right back to WWE. It was just an excursion for him from wrestling.
Like, you had it, man.
Yeah, and he could have been a bona fide action star after They Live. He could have taken Hollywood by storm, but didn't. But let's not overlook Mick Fleetwood. I mean, I'm a Fleetwood Mac fan. Sure. I think we all love at least one Fleetwood Mac song. I kind of looked at him and I was like, I really wanted to see him do more acting, because he is a guy who enjoyed his little trips into the acting world from time to time. I know he was a big Star Trek fan, so he got to live out one of his dreams by being a nonverbal alien in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation many years ago. Nice. But I was looking at him, especially this particular shot, and I was just like, he's got a Dumbledore thing about him. I would like to see him do something really dialogue heavy, because I think his experience with, not just as a musician, but a little bit of, I've seen him on screen. I think he would be great at delivering some heavy dialogue. I would have liked to have seen him do more, but I mean, I don't know how old he is now. He's probably pushing 80, but so I don't know how many times he wants to get in front of a camera now, but it would have been nice to have seen him more. But yeah, I can't complain about the cast. And also, as a football fan, seeing Jim Brown, maybe the greatest running back ever in the history of the NFL. I was looking at him and I was like, I know he's a little bit smaller, not quite as muscular as he was in his playing days, but I'm like, I still wouldn't want to be a linebacker having to tackle this guy if he was running right at me. I mean, just the look in his face right there. He's that guy that's just made from something different. he's not made of granite. He's made of something a little tougher than granite. He's tough. He's sharper than iron. But I can't knock the cast. I mean, even the big guy who plays the Shocker, because one of the things I noticed about Dynamo. This is there was a very WWF kind of manner about how they put these stalkers out there. They were all kind of their own unique thing, the way that wrestlers are. That's why I think it was great. That's why I think it was a great thing to have Jesse the Body Ventura around, because he kind of was the main one of that group of really flamboyant personalities they were the prestige, to use the magic term, the deliverance of the trick. They were the coating on top of it that makes it all look pretty. And then of course this old lady saying, I would have been on Ben Richards. He's gonna fucking kill them all. Yeah, you can never go wrong by letting an old lady drop an F-bomb in a movie. It just looks funny.
Hell yes.
I still, to this day, when I watch Lake Placid, I still laugh at Betty White telling the guy suck her dick or something like that. Yeah. If I were a man, this is where I'd tell you to suck my dick. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, the cast, I can't knock the cast of this movie at all. It's all pretty perfect. There were some things that could have happened, some possible castings we'll talk about later that I think would be interesting, but I think we got the cast we needed for this movie. Let's see.
Before, pardon me for jumping in, I've completely forgot a special shout out to Thomas Rosales Jr., who played Chico, and he got his head blown off by the neck explosion thingy in the prison escape scene. You'll recognize that guy to see him. He's been in a lot of movies in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. You just look at him and you say, I've seen that guy before. He was in Con Air with Nicolas Cage when Nicolas had found the secret plane at the runway way out there in the desert. He was the guy pointing the silencer gun at Nicolas Cage. That guy is great. He's been in almost 200 projects over the years. So shout out to Thomas Rosales Jr. as well as in the chat, the Tex Man, the Yeehaw guy himself.
the king of the Yeehaw people. It's the Northern DC in the chat saying Running Man is one of his all-time favorites. I mean, it's a good movie. I don't know if it's an all-time favorite. I don't even think it's in the top 10 Arnold movies, but whatever. He also says this movie would have been a perfect WWE guest star role. So, I mean, Jesse the Body. Yeah. I mean, I think when this movie was made, he was not big in wrestling the way that he once was, but he was still wrestling. And I think he had kind of settled into one of those legend roles.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe he was talking about the new version, I think he said, but whatever. Maybe there is. We don't know what kind of cameos are going to be in the new version just yet, anyway. So
I swear, because John Cena's in fucking everything, he's going to show up for some reason.
And he's somebody who needs to learn how to act. He's a terrible actor. But see, Tex says, move over, Arnie. Native Texan Glen Powell is about to take your franchise, make Glen Powell a thing.
Glen Powell is a thing, damn it. I agree.
I need to find that picture just to have it.
Frank, you're going to have to get on our bandwagon here. He's a thing, man.
Make John Cena less of a thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, please.
Let's see. Northern DC says, are these characters getting revived in the new movie? Well, many of them are. I mean, the Killian character's in there. That's what Josh Brolin's playing. It is interesting that Killian is in this new movie is going to be, I guess, a producer, and the black guy you were mentioning him earlier, Jeremy. He's
Coleman Domingo. I thought he was Killian.
He is going to be the host, and then obviously Glen Powell is playing the Ben Richards character, and whether they have other characters, I don't really know. But I would assume that probably not any more than that, because it's not. Like I said, this is going to be much closer to the book, so there's not going to be the stalkers. There's not going to be those individual guys chasing him around at various points. There's going to be everybody trying to get him. So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. But I mean, let's talk about the plot now. Obviously, everybody, he's got to get through to where he's not getting. All his friends have to make it through four areas of this game arena and not get killed to get their freedom or money or whatever the hell it is they're offering at the end. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Is there something you could change?
I mean, it's it works for the premise it's trying to put out there. Like, you just gotta survive a couple rounds with these over the top characters like this. I mean, you tell me this isn't like, a Saturday morning cartoon or like some wrestling you'd see on on TV. It's like they all have their individual personalities. They have their one thing. Like, of course, he's got the chainsaw, which I'm sorry, but if I'm betting, my money's on Buzzsaw because I love Buzzsaw. That's Richard Dawson put his arm around me and asked me who I'm picking him. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's a cool premise. I like the idea because, like I mentioned, it kind of gave me a little bit of They Live, but like you said, the Hunger Games and kind of the Purge. It's got this kind of mix of all these weird dystopian ideas of like I would hope to say that it's far-fetched, but you kind of wonder, is it too far-fetched to think that like televising people getting killed on TV for sport is just going to be met with thunderous applause, you know what I mean, and people are just going to cheer it on. It's like, man, have we fallen that far? Because they sure did in this timeline, apparently. I don't know where we got off on the timeline, but that's where we're at. So, like I said, I like the idea. It's cool. When I think of some movies where I'm like, this is not a world I'd want to live in because this sounds terrible, But Yeah, that's on the list, but no, it's not too much I would change, but um, I don't know anything about the book, so I'll take your word for it that this new one is apparently more closer to the novel, something like that. So
Yeah, I've heard this newer one is supposed to be much closer to the book, but
okay.
I myself have never read the book, so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay,
I'm just taking people's words for it. But I know one of the knocks
it'll
on
be
this movie
interesting.
is that it's such a departure from the book, and I was like, at the time, I was like, I don't care. It's a fun movie to watch, and it's Arnie.
It's still fun.
Yeah, it's Arnie. He's cutting people in half with chainsaws and doing cool shit. But Alex, what about you? What do you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Is there anything you'd have changed?
Plot works for me. If we're going on Richard Bachman / Stephen King departures from novels, may I mention a little movie from 1980 called The Shining that might have done well? Y'all may have heard of it. You know, kind of a good movie in the pantheon of North American cinema. There are parallels that I saw with regards to Rollerball from 1975 with the young James Caan. There's something where it comes to the interaction between government and private media corporations and how the two intermingle when it comes to entertainment for the people and making lots of money. So that's where my mind went when I saw The Running Man again after not having seen it for, I don't know, 15 or 20 years. It's a decent enough plot. It goes to some interesting places. We get some good characters. I would love to have had a little bit more in the way of backstory when it came to the competitors like Dynamo and Buzzsaw and the other Jim Brown's character who I can't remember
Fireball?
the name of. Fireball, yes.
Fireball.
But I'm glad we got this movie, especially in the form that it was, because if it wasn't for this movie, Gamer from 2009 might have been a bridge too far for some movie audiences, and I love that movie so much.
I kind of forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, God, I haven't seen that movie. I think I saw that movie when it first came out. I think I've seen it since. But yeah, the plot is interesting because even before today's modern political train wreck of a climate, it seems like even back in 1987, like so many people were freaked out. We were on the verge of everything, society falling apart. And maybe they weren't so right back then, but maybe they were close, maybe they weren't close. We never really know one day to another. But there's a lot of potential in setting a movie against a backdrop of fallen society, because I think it opens up a lot of really cool creative avenues where you can go. Not just a story of how you got there, but how you get out, which is kind of a whole movie in and of itself. If you want to try to tell that story, but yeah, the fall of society accompanied by the degradation of integrity of its people enough to where we want to watch people get cut up by Buzzsaw or get burned to death by Fireball. The fact that we even want to do something like that as a society would be devastating. I wonder if that society would be worth saving. And I think that's one of the existential questions the plot tries to ask is, once you get to this point, maybe we just start praying for the meteor, because that's the only thing that can wipe away the sins at this point is the fireball from space that wipes us all out. But yeah, I do think it was fun. I mean, the plot is pretty cool. Again, it's even back in the 80s, it was like the dystopian stuff was kind of, they made movies with that as the backdrop, but it wasn't serious. I don't want to call it cartoonish, but it wasn't like explored. And I don't think it explored enough in this movie. I think that's one of the things that could have made the plot better is if they would explore a little bit of the political stuff a little bit more. Maybe kept some characters around. I love having Mick Fleetwood and what his character was. I would like to have him with a little bit more exposition. That would have been a lot cooler, especially because I just like Mick Fleetwood in this role. I thought he was very good. Maybe, and you've got somebody like Yaphet Kotto, who was a great actor at this point already, a great actor. I don't think he was used very well. I think he was wildly underused. But then again, it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger 1980s movie. I don't think you're trying to win any Oscars with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s. So why bother giving Yaphet Kotto, who's a good actor, any real dialogue? But yeah, I dig it for what it was in 1987. It's like let's set Arnold up with his muscles and his tight outfit against this crazy world where everything's gone wrong, and just see the chaos ensue and turn our brains off and stuff our faces full of popcorn and enjoy the ride for 90 minutes. That's what cinema was for a lot of the 1980s, and it made a lot of money and it worked out pretty well. But I still feel like the storytelling nowadays is better. But
Dude,
let's talk.
oh,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you know what I appreciate is again now being kind of removed from the time period that well when this movie came out, but also the time period it's set in, and you kind of look at some of the stuff, and I was like, yeah, they got that right. She comes in, she's like, hey, coffee, make coffee. Her whole home's got all these smart devices, and then at the end when they AI deep fake him onto fighting Jesse Ventura, I'm like, that's a thing. I was like, you know what?
That's real.
That's scary because a lot of that stuff, it's like that seems like complete science fiction in the late '80s, but I'm like, no, that is real, and that's pretty much on the hitting the nail on the head. And this is set in like 2019, so I'm like, yeah, that's kind of funny to look back on and kind of giggle to yourself. But again, it's that nervous laughter where I'm like, huh. Yeah, that's
we laughed at it back then, but now we're kind of like, oh no.
Oh, now we're not laughing no more.
They actually figured that shit out for real.
Yeah, we're not laughing now, man.
Yeah, see, Northern DC says all empathy seems to not exist in that realm. Very much, yeah. Like I said, when society falls,
so far gone.
Is it really worth saving? He also says the individual hunters made this movie. In this movie, had a video game-esque feel to it, like the final bosses in each level. Kinda, yeah. I don't know if I put it in the trivia or not. If I did, I'll save it for the trivia. I don't know if I did or not. But
maybe that's in the Running Man the Home Edition, which I would love to know what that is and how that works.
What would that movie even be?
That's I'm like I love this gimmick in this movie with the Running Man Home Edition, but I'm like, what? But how does that work? Richard Dawson, you need to explain this to me. How does that work?
Northern DC also says, I really hope they don't deviate completely from this. If you mean from this film, well, they're going to. I mean, because this film was such a departure from the book, and they said this new film is going to be much closer to the book, not directly word for word, but cinematically they're going to make it as close to the book as possible, which I'm fine with. I mean, I don't want them to just remake this movie, give it a different edge, give it a different look, give me a different feel, make it something new and fresh. Because again, I can imagine there's going to be a scene, mostly because it's going to be a nice little throwback to this movie, where they do some AI deepfake thing where they show him getting killed because they can't have him survive, just like they can't allow Ben Richards to survive in this movie. I have a feeling you're going to see a scene like that because of how well it fits into the modern aesthetic, into the modern zeitgeist. So I imagine we're going to see a scene like that. It'll be one of those scenes where we're going to be like, I got that reference. And then we're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's real now. That's not pretend anymore.
They'll probably just head fake us with it, too. Like, we'll just see Glen Powell get killed, and then we're like, oh, yeah, no, that was fake. It's like, in the movie, they're like, so if we take his face and we composite it onto the stunt double, they'll think it actually happened. I was like, yeah. Oh, there's that nice prosthetic right there. That's cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I got two shots for Tex. I got this one because I knew he'd be watching. I got this one, and I got this one because I knew Tex would. I know Tex would be dreaming about that later on tonight.
As long as you say please.
most guys in 1987 would be dreaming about that picture if they saw it. I can tell you that because I was 11 years old in 1987, so I was like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Oh, I bet you would. And little Frank discovered that day.
Yeah, I was like, hey, what's this going on in my pants anyway?
Well, you must have been very proud of yourself.
Hey, I probably didn't know what the hell was going on at 11 years old, but probably scared, like, whoa, better take a shower, figure this whole thing out. But
cold shower.
Think on baseball. But let's look forward for just a moment if we can. And we've already kind of mentioned a few things. What do we expect from the new movie coming up? I'll go to you first, Alex, because I mean we know some things. The trailers have been pretty amazing, in my opinion. What are your expectations of this new remake coming out?
Because I've not read the book, even though my mom is a huge Stephen King fan, so I really hope she will bequeath me that novel in the will. And they're doing a faithful remake of the book as opposed to this movie, I would imagine that we're going to get a lot of modern tech, so GPS and cell phones and GoPros. Hopefully, there's still going to be a bunch of hand-to-hand combat, and maybe we'll get some few years down the road, newly released army weaponry tech that can really make some kind of impact and help make some of the hunter characters stand out, just like Northern DC was saying, and a little bit less of the one-liners. The movies of Arnold, especially back in the 80s, they had a certain flavor, like you were saying, Frank, because he was the big guy. If you watch documentaries like Pumping Iron, Arnold at that time definitely had a personality. He wasn't just a big guy lumbering around, lifting heavy things and putting them down. No, he had humor, he had intelligence, he had tact. So putting something like that into a movie of nowadays, Glen Powell isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, but there's a little bit more in the way of, I think, charisma and intelligence. I'm not bringing Arnold down when I say that, but we're living in a different world now. So I wonder, will The Running Man being released this year be set in the present day or 10 to 20 years in the future? Are we going to go full dystopia, or are we going to make commentary about what we're doing now and where we could be going? So it harkens back to Point Break 1991 versus Point Break 2015. Two very different films, two very different tones and moods. I'm hesitant. I haven't seen any trailers for the new Running Man, so I'm going in blind. I love Edgar Wright, so I'm excited.
Yeah, the trailers have been very good. I dig that you're not watching the trailers and you're going in blind, because I like that approach. I'm just on the internet way too much to avoid some of these trailers. So I as much as I would like to try to not see trailers to go see a movie, it's just not possible for me most days. But I don't know, Jeremy, how about you? What are your expectations of this upcoming remake?
Well, you know me and how I feel about this kind of stuff sometimes, but the things that get passes are remakes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's a remake. It's not a sequel, prequel, pre-requel. Electric Boogaloo. I don't know. I'm okay if you remake something, because I'm like, okay, we can do a different take on this, or have like a more modern edge to it, which isn't a bad thing, because like I said, even in the 87 version, they flat out just guessed AI deepfakes are a thing. So and kind of like what Alex said, that's what I wonder, is like, is it going to be kind of present day, because there's still a lot of commentary we could make, or is it going to be sometime in the distant future, kind of like how this movie worked. So yeah, like you were saying, this is a movie in the future, so to speak, but it's still, with 1987 knowledge and zeitgeist. So it's still kind of a dual commentary on like current but potentially future events. I remember I'm on the Glen Powell train, so he does have a different edge to it. Yes, he's not like 6'4" Arnie who could punch through a wall. So, and I like him because he does have that kind of like he said, like the charisma, and he's kind of got that cocky edge to him. And like I if you haven't seen the trailer, I won't ruin something for it, but I'm like, there is just a thing to where I kind of smiled, like he just, there's cameras everywhere. I don't have to probably mention that, but it's like, he just says his line to the camera, and I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. This looks like it's gonna be a fun ride. So, and there's gonna be some interesting characters. Like Michael Cera's character kind of intrigues me, because I'm like, what is this goofy, like nerdy kid doing? So yeah, I'm curious to see where this one goes. It looks like it'll be a fun time, because when I saw it, I was actually like excited. I was like, okay, this is something I would love to see, and I was like, oh, this is interesting that we're remaking this movie. So Because here we are now. That gave me a reason to go back and watch this, so I'm never mad about that.
Yeah, a lot of times it's kind of story specific, but a lot of times time is one of the things that helps make a remake or a legacy sequel more palatable. I think that one of the things that Top Gun Maverick benefited from was that there was a great amount of time, so you were able to find a perfect modern situation to put the character of Pete Mitchell into in the modern world, rather than having to go back and like do like a period movie of like whatever happened to him in 1994 or something like that. You were able to you were patient and waited for a modern position to put that character in that made sense. That was one of many good decisions I think was made for that. We did review for Runaway, that Tom Selleck movie from the 80s a while back. And I had said that today would be an interesting time to, I think, a very beneficial time to try to remake or sequelize, probably remake that film, because robotics AI is so prevalent now, where it was kind of just like some sci-fi wet dream back in 1980, whatever, when they made that movie. Nowadays, you're like, oh, I just saw the story the other day. There's a robot that's on sale now for like $20,000 or $25,000 that will do your housework for you. We're there now. We are in that time now. So revisiting that kind of a story now would make sense, whereas doing it in 1995 or 2000 maybe wouldn't have. Redoing it now might be the perfect time to go after that storyline and modernize it and maybe tell that story again from a more modern perspective. So, and I think nowadays, look at the mass surveillance state that is all over the world these days. So you've got all these cameras following this guy, trying to see who whacks him. I'm sure I don't know what they are yet, just from having seen a couple of trailers. But I mean, the social, the social commentary, however they decide to put it in the movie, I'm sure is going to be something more modern. You factor all that in with Glen Powell, who I can already tell from even one of the trailers is going to be way more. What's the word I'm using? He's going to be way more of a energetic person than Arnie was in this movie. Because Arnie's very stoic in this movie. Every movement he makes has a purpose, whereas Glen Powell in this movie is all over the place. It's going to be something way more spontaneous rather than Arnie sees guy, fights guy, kills guy, then on to the next one, where it was kind of, we've seen this formula.
And then,
it's the formula.
Lights a stogie.
It was the formula for about 5 straight Arnold Schwarzenegger movies in the 80s. That was the entire formula. But my expectations right now are high. Like I said, the initial reviews have been good. The trailers, people have loved the trailers. I love the trailer. I do like the fact that it's not going to be an exact remake like this. I like the fact that they're going to be closer to the book. So we're going to get the Running Man story of this character, Ben Richards, but we're going to get it from a much different point of view. It's not just going to be him and his friends trying to survive the Thunderdome. It's going to be, like Jeremy said, it's an interesting idea. It makes me intrigued that instead of just this 40 square block area of LA or wherever they're at, that the entire world is the arena. You have to find some place on the world to hide with everybody in the world trying to kill you. Like that. John Wick, we found him at one point with all the other assassins coming after him. How do you wrap your mind around that? Even after having watched that series from its inception, it's more mind warping going on. How does it get this big in this world? And I think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be interesting. God, I really hope this movie doesn't suck, because I try not to get. I've tried not to.
No.
In the last several years, I've tried to say, okay, this movie is going to be what it is. I'm going to leave my expectations at the door. I've gotten much better at it as I've gotten older. But I mean, I saw it's like Deadpool and Wolverine. We went in there with expectations, and it was hard not to carry those expectations to the theater with me. It met many of them. It was fantastic, but at the same time, I'm just like, give me something good. I want to leave the theater happy, and if you do that, I'll be fine. I am a little concerned with kind of getting a little too far away from this movie, because this is the one that everybody thinks of right now. By midnight tonight, when a bunch of people have seen the movie, it might be different. But right now, this is the Running Man. This is the benchmark. So I think Glen Powell and Edgar Wright have got to set a new benchmark, a higher benchmark that really does focus on character and story, not just Ben Richards takes the guy's chainsaw and cuts him in half with it and blows the guy up with a flare and shocks the big shocker guy. Whatever. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be something a little bit deeper than that, because I think modern audiences are much smarter than we were in 1987.
You know what we could do, since this is Edgar Wright and we love him here. What if one of the characters was just Simon Pegg and he just decides to help him out? He looks over at a row of fences and he goes, "What's the matter, Ben? You ever take a shortcut before?" Just hops the fucking fence. Come on, Edgar Wright, just give me that joke one more time. Just once more.
Can I just get one more movie in the Cornetto trilogy? Can I just? It doesn't even have to be like awesome. Just 2 hours of these guys talking and bullshitting at the pub, the pub, and the World Pub.
The Winchester.
Yeah, the Winchester. That's right. Just give me them at the pub, like going over their adventures from being cops in Stanford to running away from the zombies.
Fighting a zombie apocalypse. Yeah,
give me that. I'd be just fine. I would watch that for 2 hours. That would be worth it.
Yes.
I would pay twice for that ticket just because it'd be so awesome.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll get it. I don't know. But Northern DC says, does Arnold have a type when it comes to lead actors in his films? Both Predator and Running Man had yeah, maybe a little. I think they're very different, because the girl in this movie is one thing. The girl in Predator was very much a native. Is that the word I'm looking for? Was very much a native of the area. She was kind of sucked up in all the craziness as well, kind of like everybody else was. So yeah, she was I think a bit more innocent. But I mean, come on, it's like between this movie, Predator, Ray Don Chong, and Commando, and any hot girl that has to act across from Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s, whatever. I mean, that was more of an 80s trope than an Arnold type. But I mean, it's a trope in movies now. I mean, anything The Rock is in has to have whatever girlfriend or whatever damsel in distress he has to save has to be the hot girl. So that's an old movie trope that goes back to well before any of us were on this earth. But let's see, getting into some of the trivia now, and boy, where do I start? Let's see. Sadly, Shocker did not live to see this movie. Erwin von Lipp, who played Dynamo, was a classically trained Helden baritone opera singer. So in his introduction, when Dynamo is singing an aria from the Marriage of Figaro, it actually is von Lipp singing. He died in 1987, the same year the movie was released. This was his final movie role, as well as the final movie role of Richard Dawson.
Damn. Yeah, that sucks. That's cool that he was actually singing, though. It's a little odd. I was kind of like, okay, this guy's got pipes. Interesting. I didn't know that was real.
Yeah, he actually was. Let me pull it up real quick so I can look. He was in.
How old was he? Jesus. Yeah.
I clicked 1987. Damn it! Give me the 1987 Running Man, not the new one. I want to know about the cast.
I did that earlier. I tried to look up the director, and I got the new Running Man. I'm like, no, 1987.
Yeah, he. Let's see. He also was a collegiate wrestler. Let's see. He was in The Wanderers in 1979, which I've never seen. He was
decent movie.
He was in Stir Crazy. I did not know that. I have not seen that movie in quite some time. He was also in a American slasher film called Alone in the Dark from 1982.
Ooh.
I'm going to have to look that one up. And then, of course, Running Man was his last one. He was also a collegiate wrestler. He in 1975, he was 6th place in the heavyweight division, NCAA Division III. And in 1976, he was 2nd in the same division. Huh, interesting. But yeah, so he had quite a not a long one, unfortunately, because he died very young at the age of 34. But yeah, wow. He had an acting presence as well as an opera background. Let's see. Where is it about his? Let's see. He continued to juggle his careers in film and information technology. Apparently, he was also smart, while also singing frequently with the Amato Opera in New York, studying to become a Haydn baritone and teaching computer programming at Manhattan Community College at the same time. Damn. So this guy he had a lot of irons in the fire. The guy was into some shit. But let's see. Richard Dawson. Boy, we could say some things about Richard Dawson, and some people did. Many people who worked with Richard Dawson on the game show Family Feud say that in real life, Dawson was more like his character Damian Killian in his handling of his underlings.
Damn.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I buy it. I mean, I hear stories from people all the time from TV and movie history, and it's like some of them I'm like, I don't know if I buy it. Some of them I'm like, it makes sense because, like I've said,
I could see it.
The entire industry is just full of assholes. It's full of egos. I was talking to somebody the other day. I was just like, if you want to know which actors and actresses are actually cool people, the first place you look are the ones that live outside of LA or outside of California anymore. Like you never hear anything about Sandra Bullock. You know why? She lives in Austin. She fucked off LA a long time ago. You never hear anything bad about her. She's never doing coke. She's never doing stupid shit. Never in the news unless she's doing some press for a movie that she's in. You know why? She doesn't live in that bubble. She got out to a regular place and is living a regular life. She's not fucked up by all that. Let's see. Northern DC says, speaking of Predator, I think I'm going to check out the new Predator Badlands this week. And I've heard some good reviews about that as well. I'm interested in watching that too. It does look pretty good. But let's see. Moving on. Let's go back to Mick Fleetwood for this, as I'm clicking all around the wrong shit. Let's see. It's hinted that Mick Fleetwood is actually playing himself in the movie. In the film, the resistance leader's name is Mick. He is British. And when Mick meets Richards to remove his explosive collar early in the film, he says to him, "You're one of the cops who locked up all my friends, burned all my songs." So is he playing a variant of Mick, of himself in the future? I don't know.
If you can go your own way about what he's playing in this movie.
Just rumors.
Gotcha. Oh. Or maybe it's all just dreams. We don't know.
No.
I apologize.
I'm trying to work in a Tusk joke, but I can't do it. Kevin Smith, you got to help me with that.
I got the chain for you.
I apologize for the landslide.
Got me. Good song.
It is kind of interesting, though. I do like that. Like, I generally hate fan theories because I think most of them are just retarded, stupid, poorly thought out. But this is one that you kind of look at it and you're like, it kind of, because there's a couple pieces of dialogue. I pulled up that piece of trivia before I had sat and watched the movie. And as I was listening for those lines, I was listening to a couple things he said that were kind of in line with that. And I was like, maybe he is playing, maybe one of the ways they got him to sign on is just to say, you're playing an old version of yourself or a variant of yourself or something like that. And there's a couple of things he said. I forget the exact lines, but there's a couple of things that he said that was that kind of go along that fan theory. But, we'll go with it for whatever. Let's see. Let's talk about, what picture have I not used yet? How about this one? Let's see. Originally scheduled for a July 1987 release, it was actually moved back for 4 months by TriStar to avoid competition with another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that was coming out that summer, and that was Predator, which was released in June.
I was gonna say, was that Predator? Yeah. Him and Jesse were just hitting all the fucking classics, weren't they?
Honestly, I say release them both. Let Arnold own the theaters for like 3 months. Because you can't tell me that both these movies wouldn't run gangbusters. One would have fed the other, in my mind. Now, I could be wildly wrong about this. This is one of the reasons why I'm not an executive at a major motion picture studio. But I'd say, why move dates around? I mean, why not? Look what they did with Barbenheimer. One of those, you very easily could have been one of those execs and said, that movie's going to be big. Maybe we move this one back for forward a couple of weeks so we're not clashing. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. Put them all at the theater at the same time. Let's just get everybody to the movies. Because there is this stuff called counter programming. So it's like when there's a big like R-rated horror film coming out, you'll notice that weekend there will usually be like some G-rated kiddie film that will come out as well. It's called counter programming. Because they know that a bunch of the assholes like us are going to go see the R-rated horror movie, but all the family people are going to flock to go see the G-rated kiddie movie, and everybody's going to be satisfied at the end of the day. My kids would rather go watch the horror movie, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, it's not even counter. Let Arnold go out there in the Predator fighting the alien and in Running Man fighting this dystopian future, and let him run the box office. I don't feel like it would have hurt anything, but I don't know. Like I said, there's a reason why they don't make charge of a major studio.
They do that with video games too, which is why one of the greatest like memes and like me and Rachel have even done it as a cosplay. They released Doom and Animal Crossing on the same day, so having this adorable little Isabel as a little puppy wielding his double-barreled shotgun and like killing demons alongside of him, and with him you got the big Doom Slayer with like a freaking butterfly net catching butterfly. It's just so like polar opposite, but it makes a weird beautiful symmetry happen, and it's so goofy. Yes, I did dress up like Doom Guy, and I had a butterfly net, and I had a little butterfly on my finger and shit, and I gave her a shotgun. So you know, it works. I think they did that with Fallout. To be fair, Fallout 4 came out in 2015, and that was the biggest joke for the longest time that was never going to happen. I think the reboot of the Tomb Raider game came out that same time, and they kind of just knew like this is going to get run over by Fallout, so they just said, screw it, put it out there. Like, what happens. But yeah, there are some Barbenheimer beautiful moments like that. Like I said, Isabel and Doomslayer are like a thing now. So
yeah, I think they overthink release dates sometimes. I just say, put the movie out. People want to go see it, they're going to go see it.
Something cool could happen.
Look, it's not like I haven't gone to the movie theater twice in a weekend before. I'll go twice again if there's 2 movies out I want to see. You're going to get my money. If you're going to get it this weekend or next weekend, it doesn't matter. So just release the damn movie.
I don't know if we ever. Oh, good.
That's that. I was just saying, Northern DC said in the chat, he said he watched Predator and Beverly Hills Cop 2 double feature at the drive-in. God, that takes me back to the 80s if nothing else does.
That'd have been sweet.
I love drive-ins. The last thing I remember seeing in the drive-in, I think, because most of the drive-ins close to here have closed. There's a few that are kind of a little bit of a drive, but they're still close. But the last thing I remember seeing at the drive-in was the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I had gone home to California that summer, and my cousin was like, he wanted to take his youngest son to go see a movie, and I was like, well, I had already seen Spider-Man at that point, but it was at the drive-in still. I was just like, well, let's go to the drive-in and see Spider-Man. So we jumped in the car and went to the drive-in and saw Spider-Man. I don't remember what we saw with it. We may not have saved it for the second movie because the kid was coming down at the time. We didn't know if he was going to be able to stay up till 2 a.m. to watch another movie. But yeah, that's the last one I remember going to see at a drive-in was Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the first one.
I think the last one I saw was Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I think whichever Transformers movie was out at that time, that's the 2 I saw. Like, so this is back in like 2011. I don't know if that was like the third one or something. Rise of the Machines or something. I think that's the last time I actually saw a drive-in movie. So
okay,
it's been a hot minute.
Now I remember. I think the last thing I went and saw was the first Transformers.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's still a long time ago. That's still
because like 2007, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the first trailer that came up was for Cloverfield, not Cloverfield, but Cloverfield. That was the first time I saw the Cloverfield trailer.
Okay.
And I was just like, holy shit, what the hell is this? And then I got sucked in by the viral marketing. And, I spent a year of my life on the internet trying to figure out, what is this monster? And then I just watched the movie and got all my answers. But let's see here. Let me go pull this picture up, which I haven't used. Have I used this one yet? I don't know. It's a good picture, so I'm going to use it.
No.
John McTiernan intentionally kept Jesse Ventura out of any close-up shots with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, which also came out in 1987, because of Ventura's immense size. He is 6'5" and almost 300 pounds at the time. The director didn't want Schwarzenegger to look small in comparison, which is evident during the fight scene in The Running Man when Ventura almost dwarfs Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger is not very tall. Historically, I've known this. Schwarzenegger is not a very tall person. I think I'm taller than he is, to be honest.
If I remember correctly, he's 6'2", 6'2" or 6'1", and when you're that tall, and I'm talking about Jesse Ventura, 6'2" and 6'5", not that much of a difference, I think.
But 300 pounds, that's a big dude.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah. It's like that hilarious picture of Schwarzenegger, but he's standing next to Andre the Giant and Wilt Chamberlain, and they make him look like a child. I'm like, What the fuck? I mean, like, we know they're big dudes, but yeah, they're just like holding like Arnie on their shoulders. I'm like, okay. Good lord.
It's internet search says he's 6'2".
Okay, 6'2". Well, he's taller than me, so you'd make me look small.
I think when I was young, at my tallest, I think I had cracked 6 feet. But now I'm to the point where I'm shrinking because I'm old now.
It's going the other way.
Yeah, now I'm going the wrong way. But let's see. Here's some of those interesting casting tidbits that Alex was talking about earlier. Let's see. Dolph Lundgren and Christopher Reeve both expressed interest in starring in this movie. Patrick Swayze had also been considered at one point. I don't know.
Okay.
Interesting names, but
well,
I don't know.
I mean, shout out to my mom. She would have voted Swayze because that's her dude. So that would have been interesting. Roadhouse already came out, right? This is 87.
No, that was 89.
89. Okay, you're right. Oh. I don't know. And you said Christopher Reeve and Dolph Lundgren. Oh, jeez. Dolph Lundgren was a good dude too.
Dolph Lundgren could have been cool.
Yeah,
maybe. If of all the people that could have gotten cast in the movie that I would barely understand the English they were speaking, it probably would. I would prefer Arnie over Dolph Lundgren, but still, that could have been.
If they're gonna drop their famous one-liners, like of course he looks at Killian and says, "I'll be back." I'm like, God damn it, really? I mean, he could look at Killian and he could have been like, "I must break you." I don't know, something like that. You
know why I ended up liking that? It occurred to me as I was watching it again yesterday. Is like, because usually when Arnie says that in the Terminator, that's the line, and then they go on to whatever action piece. Killian actually has a good response. Because Killian is totally in control at that point. So when he leans down over the thing, he says, "I'll be back," and at that point, Killian, knowing that he's got all the power, says, "Yeah, only in a rerun. Get the fuck out of here." So there was a good comeback for that classic line, which I was like, "Okay, I dig that now. That's pretty cool." Yeah, so I thought that worked out pretty well. But let's see. On to Killian. This would have been interesting to me. Burt Reynolds was actually offered the role of Damien Killian, but Reynolds turned down the offer when he learned he was going to be billed last because he wanted to be billed second next to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Whatever, man.
I don't know. I like Richard Dawson in this role. Like I said, we all agree he does kind of steal this movie, but
it's the meta humor that he's a game show host. That's just so
true.
I love
that. But there is a for lack of a better word, there's an arrogance that Burt Reynolds has on camera.
Oh yeah.
That when you watch him in a movie like Smokey and the Bandit, it's a confident arrogance. But when you see him play a bad guy, it's an evil arrogance when he's really just being himself. He's just delivering the dialogue the way that he delivers it. So I think that could have been interesting. Because he himself has this great smile that makes the ladies drool, and the guys are just like, "That's the coolest motherfucker around." Driving the flaming chicken around, eastbound and down and all that. Yes. So everybody loves him for one reason or another because he portrays that charisma that Dawson does in this movie. I think he does portray that charisma as well. It would have been different. I think that if anybody could have been cast in that role who would have stolen away some scenes the way that Dawson did, I think Burt Reynolds could have pulled it off.
He's kind of got that duality, like where he could turn on that big smile and be charmful for the camera, but then like as soon as it goes dark, it's like now he's he could have that one-on-one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and be just trying to get under his skin and punch him in the face.
That dialogue, especially when Killian pipes in that feed and he's talking just to Ben Richards for the movie. It's like I could totally see him pulling that scene off. I could totally see Burt Reynolds doing that with cracking that like bandit smile, saying, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" Blah blah, going through the whole spiel. I could totally see him doing that. I could totally see it being awesome. I feel like if anybody could have done this as good as Richard Dawson, it was probably Burt Reynolds. But I mean, Burt Reynolds, legend. I mean, was he ever bad in a movie? He was in plenty of bad movies, but was he ever bad in a movie? He was always peak Burt Reynolds, and he could do different things because like Smokey the Bandit and then playing the role of the porn producer in Boogie Nights. Very different roles, very different kinds of people. Burt Reynolds kills at both of them, and then a bunch of stuff in between. Because
I guess one kind of good way to compare it is he did play Boss Hogg in that remake of Dukes of Hazzard, where he's a public figure and he's still got the smile and he puts it on for the crowd, but he's also like, yeah, I'm gonna get them Duke boys. He's still got the edge to him. So
true.
Kinda, that's the duality.
That's the funny thing. Well, the Boss Hogg character kind of is just like a little bit slightly meaner version of the Bandit. It's like,
yeah.
He still got the hat, only now he's dressed in all white and he's not driving around the Flaming Chicken, but he's still, because he's always had that Southern swagger to him anyway, so playing a different version of Boss Hogg probably worked for him really well. But yeah, if anybody other than Richard Dawson could have played this role this good and kind of stolen the movie away, I think it would have been Burt Reynolds. And I wonder if this is one of those things that Burt Reynolds kind of looked at and he's like, God, I could have been also in that movie. Maybe I should just went ahead and taken the deal. It could have made some money. It could have been this huge blockbuster in 1987 when he was still relatively young and looking good. This was about the time. When did he do that TV show? What was that damn TV show?
Which one are you thinking of?
Fuck, he was in a TV show that ran for several years. Not Picket Fences. What the hell am I thinking of? He did Deliverance, Cannonball Run. Damn it. Filmography. Let me know filmography. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. His filmography has an entirely separate article because he was in so much shit. I should have known better than that.
I was going to say. Good luck.
He was in. Oh, damn. He was in TV that long ago? Damn. The Evening Shade. That was what he was in.
Okay.
In the early mid-90s, he was on Evening Shade. And right about this time, what was he doing? Nothing on TV, really. Okay. Maybe this is one of the reasons why he didn't do it. I totally forgot about this. He did the voice of the blonde girl's dad in the TV show Out of This World. You guys remember that show? Jeremy, I would not be surprised at all if you've never heard of the show. I
don't think I have.
No. Okay. Boil it down for you. He did the voice. He was never actually in the show. He just did a lot of audio stuff. But like basically, he plays the voice of this guy who was an alien. He came down to Earth before the show starts. He came down to Earth. He met this girl. They had a baby, and then he reveals himself to be an alien, and he has to go back into space. But there's this little like stupid lamp-looking thing that is on his daughter's nightstand that she uses to communicate with him out in space. And she has the ability to stop time by touching her fingers together like this.
Well,
God, it was mid 90s camp or mid 80s camp to the fucking extreme. I watched a few episodes of it here and there. There were some episodes I thought were fun. I didn't really watch the show all that much, but that was what he was doing about this time, as he was doing the voiceover for the girl on that. And then of course it was 1986, the year before, that he had that one little cameo on the Golden Girls. Good episode, by the way. If you've never seen that one, love the Golden Girls. But yeah, so I think it would have been cool to see him as Killian in this movie. I think that him up there in the suit with the microphone, the smile, the bandit swagger. I think that would have worked out very well. But again, we got a great guy with Richard Dawson anyway, so I'm not that mad about it. We were treated to something very good. Let's see. On to the next one. Let's see. How about fucking A? Let's go.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, no. Well, next time on Dragon Ball Z. Maybe we'll hear from Maybe we'll hear from it after these important messages. Oh, are you back?
Yeah. My internet just kind of stalled for like half a second. It was really weird. Everything did.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I'm watching everything on. It went crazy.
We were going to go to commercial. I'm sorry, but if you're back, you can go ahead.
But let's see. Along with Thinner from 1996, The Running Man from 2025, and The Long Walk from 2025, both recent movies. This is one of only 4 Stephen King feature movie adaptations based on a novel that he wrote under the pseudonym Richard Bachman.
Interesting. Also, I want to point out that poster back there for the hate boat instead of the love boat. That makes me laugh. I love that.
Yeah, Richard Dawson. he very famously was on at least one episode of The Love Boat, and I think that's one of the reasons why they threw that up back there.
Oh, that's funny.
I kind of want that poster, to be honest. Both those posters back there look kind of dope. I would have it just to have.
Oh,
But that guy is Richard Fuller, who has been in a bunch of movies. He's a character actor, has been in a bunch of shit.
He's speaking of the hate boat, the captain of the hate boat is in the chat right now.
Oh,
Casey
God
here.
damn it. Is he?
Oh, here he is. At least he was nice enough to go comment on both of our streams, because I know that you're running this on your channel as well. So at least he was kind enough to go and do that. So thanks, Casey, for giving both of us some a little bit of boost up the algorithm. Yeah, golf clap for you.
Hey. We gotta throw some bread to the ducks every once in a while. I get it.
Casey, I have one question for you. I hope you can answer in the chat.
Why are you gay?
No, I didn't know we had that now.
I've been sitting on that one for a while. I haven't had a chance to use it.
Oh. Got him.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay?
That's one of my favorite clips I found on the internet.
Oh, damn it.
I forgot what the hell I was even talking about now. Oh, yeah. Richard Bachman. But yeah, no, the reason why authors will write under a pen name is because I don't know if it's still a rule or if it was a rule at the time, but apparently publishers are only, at least at the time, were only allowed to release one book for an author per year. And that's why writers have had pen names, because if they finish two books, they want to get them both out. So he would release, I don't know what all he had come out in 1987, but let's say he had Carrie come out. And then he also finished The Running Man, wanted to come out. He's like, well, I'll just release it under this pen name of Casey putting things in his ass. That's my name. And then whatever. Well, I know for sure Frank isn't the reason why I turned gay. Well, what is the reason you turned gay? We all know it was your dog or the rose. Maybe, I don't know.
Tex has the answer. Casey sticks himself up his own ass.
Yeah. I was trying not to go to that because I know that you're trying to get away from the whole Casey and his ass thing, but whatever. If you think that the whole Casey and his bum thing should die, then I'm all for it. But
only
he catfishes himself just so he can feel love.
Yeah. He sits on his hand until it falls asleep, and he holds his own hand like it's somebody different. So sad.
Bringing out Mr. Stranger.
The stranger. But that's the wrap up for the trivia, and probably a good place to start to wrap this thing up as a whole. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. I'll go to you first, Alex. Give me your final thoughts on The Running Man from 1987.
In the pantheon of 80s movies, this, I think, is one to see at some point. It's not in the top 10, not in the top 20, probably approaching the 50 out of 100 mark, but still, it's a movie to see because Arnold was a big thing in the 80s. It's got some dystopia, it's got some sci-fi. It's a little bit on the lower end of highbrow or, medium brow entertainment, but it's still a movie. You're still here for the movies, so turn your popcorn off, stuff your brain full of face, and showtime.
Yeah, pretty much. Jeremy, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on The Running Man.
Well, my first thought is now I want that on a t-shirt. That's hilarious. I love that. Because then that gets some looks and that gets us channel views. So people ask questions, Yeah, it's still worth a watch. It's a fun, if I've said it before, I think, and like if you think of something that what would a 80s action comedy, something like that, what would that look like? And this would be one of those that would very much come to mind. So yeah, and it does have its interesting backdrop of the dystopian future with televised blood and gore, people making bets on the street, So it's a cool premise, and I'm hand in hand. I'm sitting here wondering what the new one's going to be about because I'm actually somebody clip it. I'm actually excited. I know I've like Frank, I've been trying to be better about it because the Crystal Skull ruined that shit for me a long time ago, and I have been very reserved and very hesitant since. But I'm been trying to come back out of that shell a little bit, where I'm like, okay, this actually kind of excites me. So, and again, a good reason to go back and watch is because, as I've said, I'm never mad that I watched a movie because I mean, what have I done with most of my life, if not play video games and watch movies? So, and they said that would never get me anywhere. Well, who's laughing now? My wallet's laughing because we're not making money, but whatever. It's for the fun of it. I don't really care. That's the fun of it. So yeah, it's a recommend. I mean, still, it's something to put in the back of your brain and just to say that you watched it. Getting a headache.
I just pulled up Tier Maker. We may have to do this as a separate video. I don't think we're going to do this tonight. But there is a Tier Maker section with Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and I'm looking at some of them. Aftermath. They actually put Batman and Robin on here. Like that's not going to be put in the awful list. Collateral Damage, Commando, the Conan movies, all this stuff. The Terminator movies, obviously, Predator.
What's the Oh my God! Why can't I asked Rachel if she'd seen it. I don't know why I can't think of it. The one where he's in the well, yeah, no, the God damn it, they remade it where he's in the mind shit.
Total Recall.
You like Total Recall. That also a good one. You kept saying that. I'm like, I feel like we should actually have like an Ernie video. Like maybe we should try to tier list out like what we think our favorite movies are, and
maybe we'll do this in the coming months. Maybe
I will swing at somebody if you say Batman and Robin because we're not doing that.
it's
as big of a Batman fan as I am. No.
It's on the list. Here's the movies right here. I mean, it's kind of hard for you guys to see. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit,
God,
it'll. But I mean, there's the movies right there. So. Aftermath. I've never seen Aftermath. Batman and Robin. Berettas. I haven't even heard of it. Collateral Damage. I saw Commando, the Conan movie. End of Days.
Okay, every Expendables.
Yeah, the first one I wouldn't say. He's just got a cameo in the first one. It's like, why would you?
Yeah.
But Iron Mask, I've never even heard of. Red Heat.
Oh, True Lies. True Lies has got it. That's a good one.
All the Terminators, of course. The 6th Day is kind of an underrated movie. It's got like a weird action sci-fi thing to it. Then, of course, comedic stuff, Kindergarten Cop and Twins.
I keep saying we gotta do Last Action Hero because I want to show her that because I'm like, dude, you're gonna laugh your ass off watching Last Action Hero. I'm here for that one.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I screwed up my
Please.
Thing. But Last Action Hero is kind of a fun movie.
It is.
Tex says y'all need to chill with the Batman and Robin.
All right.
Tex, you need to chill.
What killed the state of Texas? The Ice Age! Because one snowflake drops, they don't know what the hell to do. They all start panicking and shut the whole state down.
Damn right.
Meanwhile, I'm up here in 3 foot of snow, and I'm like, well, I'm going to work. Goodbye.
Yeah, gotta go to work. We're not a level 3. I can still drive.
Gotta shovel my car out. God damn it.
I actually woke up to frost on my truck window this morning, and I was like, ugh, are we there already? I'd actually scraped my window for a second. I was like, God.
I wanted to punch my buddy in the throat today because he was like, oh, we're supposed to get like snow flurries on Monday. I'm like, you gotta keep that shit to a minimum. Don't tell me stuff like that. I don't want to know.
Let's see. I think I've gotten your guys' final thoughts on the movie, and I'll give mine. It's a fun movie. Look, it's not Arnold's best movie. It's in that period where all of his shit was kind of the same direct. It's entertaining. It certainly is. I mean, the acting's not great, but it's Arnold in the mid-late 80s. You weren't getting his highest best game anyway. But it is still a fun movie. The backdrop is interesting. I love the darker tone of the dystopian movies. Because, like I said, you look around the world now, you feel like you're one bad meeting between political leaders away from that actually being reality. So it's kind of a, I take it now as a bit of a cautionary tale. But yeah, it is a fun movie. It's got the good action. It's got the one-liners. If you're one of those one-dimensional movie fans, then then this is going to be one of the great movies for you. Again, not Arnold's best work, but still plenty good. Plenty good. The movie aged better than I thought it would. Not a whole lot better, but I mean, because I honestly, before last night, I hadn't seen this movie in probably 10 years. I just haven't gotten around to watching it again. So I was kind of wondering if I was gonna watch it and be like, oh yeah, this looks like ass now, but it really doesn't. I would like them to have been, and I'll channel my inner text here a little bit. I would like some of the kills to have been more visual. I don't like it when it's like when he's wrestling Buzzsaw for the chainsaw, and you see it, they're wrestling with it, and it goes up between dude's legs. The next thing you know, the guy's just like, and you see blood, and then he falls over, and I'm like, show me some blood and spitting ass. I mean, give me the visual. That's one of the reasons I watch cool shit like this. It's like, I know he's getting transected with a chainsaw, Art the Clown style. Let me see it. I also, I don't know if you guys noticed that he actually went falsetto towards the end. He's like, oh, all the hundreds of times I've watched this movie prior, I never caught that until last night. Maybe I just wasn't really watching close enough. Because again, this is not one of the movies you're watching for great dialogue. I heard that last night. I was like, that's pretty fucking awesome. I didn't remember that at all the times I watched the movie prior. But it's fun. It's behind a paywall in a lot of places. I went ahead and got it on Amazon Prime because I figured, what the hell.
Same.
I could have swore it was on one of the streaming services. I'd seen it recently. I couldn't figure out which one though. Maybe they took it down because when a remake of a film comes out, oftentimes they will put the original behind a paywall for a while just because they want to try to get some money out of it. But this is one of those ones that if you're a regular Walmart shopper, if you hit the $5.99 bin like I regularly look through when I go into a Walmart, you might find it in there. It's worth having a DVD copy just in case the world ends and you still need some entertainment. It's a fun movie. It's typical Arnold mid-'80s fare. That's just kind of what it was. But we're going to go ahead and start to wrap things up there. I want to thank my amazing co-host for being so awesome as always. Starting with my ever life mate Jeremy. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Well, I am above ground amongst the living again, even though, again, like I said, I'm shuffling around like a zombie. But I'll be a little more pep in my step here because hot season's over. So, sad face. But there's still some stuff to be had. There's still the get together we do after the season and all that jazz. Be looking for our Christmas card because that's. Every year we take a big group photo, and that's the Christmas card for that year. So that's one of the funniest things we do, and I love that. So
is that the photo that I saw on the Facebook page?
Probably, yeah. Like it's just the group of all the cast together. He'll put that on a Christmas card and send it out to all of us. It's so funny. Every year we do that.
Yeah, I think I found you and Rachel in it. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure. Everybody's in makeup though, so it's not as easy as it would be. But I think I found you.
Yeah, she's in a wig. She doesn't. She actually freaked some guy out because she walked back from the car and took her wig off, and the guy like double take. He's like, "That's what you look like," and she's like, "Yeah, this is my real hair." I'm like, "That's funny." Yeah. No, I'm here Tuesday, Thursdays doing what we do, and I guess the only thing I've really been doing is the Outer Worlds 2 came out last week, and I've been kind of playing through that when I've not felt like absolute crap. So. Space Fallout 2 is what I'm gonna call it because it plays like a Fallout game because it's made by Obsidian, who made Fallout New Vegas. But I'm having a really fun time with it. It's really leaned into the meta humor and just kind of sometimes the game just kind of insults you and it's just kind of funny. I just can't help but laugh at myself. I don't know what it is about it, but. That's a fun game. So check out the first game. Check out this new game. It's a lot of fun. That's my recommendation. Play some Outer Worlds.
And to our good friend from the Great White North, Alex from Alex and the Garbage Man, what do you guys got going on your show on Mondays?
Well, you can find me and my handsome, charming, uber-intelligent co-host, Dr. Nick the Ninja Garbage Man, who was on this past Tuesday's Tremor review. Thank you for that. On the Alex and the Garbage Man YouTube channel, linked in the description below, and answering Frank's question, we discuss something, everything, and nothing. mostly nothing. So if you want to see two 40-something Canadians who are way past their prime trying to fit into the youthful YouTube scene, Alex and the Garbage Man is the slow-motion car crash / train wreck talk show for you. And remember, we don't do requests.
Keeping the world keeping the world safe from stupid people.
Trying.
What's your guys' weather up there like right now? I'm hoping that it's not too terrible.
We'll say we're all up in the northern part, but he's the north. So
they're in Canada, so they're just like they get to like go to hell winter weather.
Yeah.
It's not that bad where I am because I'm closer to the United States, particularly Seattle. So being on the coast, we get a lot of the rainy weather. And about this time of year, it starts to rain every day. It gets to monsoon season in December, and we do get 3 or 4 days of snow in late December. So if that trend holds, everyone in Vancouver either puts their winter tires on in the second last week of December, or they all get into car crashes in the last week of December.
You need to make sure you put a camera up around like where you're at so we can see all these car crashes. If there's like one particular intersection where things tend to happen, just put a camera up there. Put a little trail cam. That's great. That's great stuff for you guys to talk about. Only you will have it. Nobody else will have it. You can go viral. You'll have 1 million subscribers by a week later, I promise. I love watching stupid people in cars on YouTube. It's so fun, especially once you're
the road gets wet once, and then people just suddenly have no idea how to drive. And I'm like, guys, we go through this every year.
Tech says it's a freezing 77 right now. Pray for us.
Oh, piss off!
Go straight to hell.
This is why you lost the war. God damn it! It's that kind of shit right there.
As for me, you will see me back here. We'll be here next Tuesday to do the 2025 version of this film, The Running Man, starring Glen Powell and everybody else that's in the movie. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, good reviews so far. I've loved the trailers, so this is definitely going to make Glen Powell a thing. We don't have to stop Glen Powell from being a thing anymore.
He's been a thing, man.
A thing. Yeah, he's a thing. Let's just admit it, he's a thing. But I will be back here on Thursday for the new Running Man. Hello. Adios. I mean, let's make him a thing. There's so much stuff that Glen Powell's attached to nowadays anyway. I've heard him attached to, Indiana Jones. I've heard him attached to Star Wars. Dark Knight Rises, everything. Yeah.
Dude, he was in Spy Kids 3. Let's give him credit, okay?
The hell with you.
I just hope they have more visual kills in this movie. That's what I want. I want blood and spit and ass, damn it. Sometimes I just want to be like Tex. I want to sit there and watch death. Anyway.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.